trail, carry your family.
I think it might be important to distinguish to make between people who can actually commit suicide physically by themselves and who can't. So because those who can, well, they will. They really want to. But people who can't, those people who are really somehow disadvantaged, and I think those people are probably the focus of what we might discuss, because like if we discuss it as whether or not it's moral, it's legal, I mean that's also part of the whole thing to discuss and debate this. But the actual practical thing, I think it comes down to those who can't but want to, because those who can and want to, they will, and nobody can really stop them. But those who can and they want to but they can't, those are probably the crux that initiates this whole discussion.
Exactly. This is exactly when I first talked to him. I never talked about suicide. I only talked about assisted suicide. Yeah. And then I realized, well, what's the fucking difference? Is assisted suicide is just suicide with a specific motive. But I don't necessarily think though that we should only separate in these two categories. But yeah, you're right. If they want to, they will. I mean, no one fails to commit suicide.
It's
not that hard.
Psychologically and
maybe
everything.
He should go back to the basics. Like this demarcation, between euthanasia and suicide. Because actually, I have a feeling that you just mix up everything. You just say euthanasia, like someone is totally sick and there's no hope for someone. So actually, the death is the ultimate medicine. It makes your life.
We're all gonna. I mean, all our clocks are ticking.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because it's not like that. What I mean is, there are two notions. The notions of freedom and the notion of responsibility, right? And the third one is the notion of self-consciousness. So, for example, if you are a young person and you are just depressed or totally screwed up, but anyway, you're a healthy person, who can do something. You have a future, something with your life. Then you want to kill yourself. You can say you have a free will. You have a right to kill yourself, right? But you don't have, as you just mentioned, that sometimes you're not really aware of your own actions and your motivation. Right. So then you are lack of self-consciousness, right? Self-awareness. So then I respect your right to kill yourself. I respect my brother's right to kill himself, but I still have a responsibility to make him self-aware or self-conscious now that he still can do something with his life. But someone who is how do you call it, terminally deaf or something?
Terminally ill, right? Terminally ill, yes.
And she knows that there is only 3 months left. That person is perfectly self-aware, self-conscious,
That's true. That's a very good point.
Yeah, and then you can call it euthanasia. You just let someone to have a good death, This is not a suicide. This is...
Suicide is taking your own life. Literally. The actual definition of that word, how it breaks down is taking your own life.
Someone, you live in Catholic countries where they are very against all those kinds of actions, they say, this is also taking out your life, and they're so much against it because they say your life comes from your God, and you can't just take it away. Right. But so that's the problem, because if you mix all together, you always have an argument.
You can't bring religion into it. You cannot. We're talking really, because there's just too many religions out there. If you want to have any type of discussion, you cannot bring religion into the mix.
No. You have to think about manufacturers, because if you really want to talk about something and you want your idea to have any value for the society or something, you have to take under consideration the certain environment, certain conditions.
Right.
So, for example, it's impossible to create a pure theory. Your theory works in such.
That's actually the point of this conversation, is that you cannot make a pure theory. Exactly. This will be debated forever, because there's in anything in life, there's no black and white. There's no black and white. Yes, please.
Keep it, just as moral sentence,
Yes.
Just keep there's what is suicide or what is euthanasia.
Well, once you said that you can't make a pure theory, then you can say you can decide according to conditions.
No, but conditions are pure theories. Conditions, if there's set conditions in place, I'm sorry, I should let you finish, I'm sorry.
Okay. So once you said that you can't have a pure theory, you're deciding on conditions, aren't you, on circumstance. Well,
That's okay, yeah, yeah.
You're accepting that in fact, people can be assisted to die. According to circumstance, we can make a rational decision, based on does that person have quality of life. It's all about quality of life. Is there potential for quality of life?
Right.
So again, somebody who's terminally ill, whatever, very, very old, the potential for quality of life is no longer there. So we can assist them. We can say, okay, that's it. Somebody, it seems to be pretty simple to me. Somebody who's younger, and that whole question about personal choice, nobody has unfettered personal choice. We all need help.
What do you mean unfitted personal choice?
Well, this idea that if somebody wants to kill themselves, they can.
Right.
I think, we can let them do that. It's not like that.
Well, yeah, because we're all involved in everyone's lives. We live together.
Exactly. So we can say, no, you can't kill yourself because there's consequences for other people. You, on the other hand, you can kill yourself because...
I did the speech about it, all right? I had to do it.
There's nothing left there. We can see that in your situation, all you have left is misery.
Yeah.
So of course you can, it's fine.
But what about this? This is try to throw a little screwball into this theory. This is the same thing I'm thinking about, and this is a very valid point. But another thing I thought about later, after to counteract my point, and contradict myself again. But okay, so what is life? This gets into another fucking discussion anyways, but what is life? In all honesty, take the religion out of it, take the religion completely out of it.
Take the life out of it.
Oh, religion, okay, come on.
What is,
okay, I don't want to get in, but anyways, when we are alive, what happens, and this is again my opinion, but I think this is something that could be understood, is a little fucking hole opens up, and a bunch of light and sound comes in through that hole. And that's what we see. We see that little hole. We're sensing. When we're alive, we're sensing. What's a cockroach? What's a fucking germ? Or so, what are they? They're not sensing anything. They are living life forms, but they are reacting and they are sensing. That's what they're doing, and that's what we're doing. We're reacting and we are sensing. We're constantly, light is coming in through our eyes, sound is coming through our ears, and we are sensing that. And when we die, this is a complete discussion different, and I really don't want to offend anyone that's religious. When we die, that we stop sensing. That's what happens. We stop sensing, and well, fuck it. Maybe they do have a quality of life later. Maybe 3 years later they're gonna be like, oh, dude, I'm so happy. I'm a banker. I'm a millionaire. All that stuff. But in all honesty, when someone dies, who's crying? Not the person that dies, the person that loved that person, really. And the person that's dead, he's not sensing anymore. He's not seeing shit. He's not hearing shit. He's just, I don't know.
He's flying around and watching.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So you got my point. You got my point.
I'm not sure I have got your point.
No, but it really does come to this.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I think we started to get into it a minute ago. Maybe Paul was starting to move in this direction, not exactly maybe consciously, but I wanted to ask this. In whose interest, you talked about it a little bit, but in whose interest is it for people to not have death with dignity? And in whose political or religious just in whose interest is it for people to not have assisted suicide?
Families, I guess. Just anyone you love. Tell you the truth, I know a few of you pretty well, not for a long time, but in all honesty, I knew Marty for years. I'm not sure if anyone here knows Marty. Marty passed away a little bit ago, man, and I am still missing him. He is an awesome person. He was so fun to be with. He was a good listener. I am still to this day. It was like what, a few months ago, like 4, 5, 6 months ago. Anyways, I miss him to this day, and if he was thinking about suicide, I would do any fucking thing to make him not kill himself.
Right, but what if he was terminally ill?